Los Angeles, a world of diverse and sometimes bizarre lifestyles. A place of tectonic upheaval and urban sprawl. A fluid network constantly churning. A town where movies are made and celebrated. A place willing to experiment with just about anything. And above all, a state of mind, an attitude towards life, towards science, and the epicenter of 21st century microbiology. In 2012, with support from the Caltech administration and the Weston Havens Foundation, we established the Center for Environmental Microbial Interactions, aka the CEMI. Its mission? To understand how microbes function in human health and disease, how they shape our environment, and how their extraordinary potential can be unleashed to transform our world for the better.
I love microbes because they've solved all sorts of amazing problems. I mean, imagine organisms that can live in the cold and the dark and still extract materials and energy from very low concentrations of resources. Someday we might have to learn to solve some of those problems ourselves.
The CEMI has brought together an eclectic group of scientists and engineers to study fundamental questions about microbial life. How do microbes function at the most basic level? How do they engage with other organisms to promote health or disease? How have they shaped the Earth over long timescales? Linking all participants in the CEMI is an appreciation for the power of the microbe and the recognition that our ability to harness these creatures to solve important societal problems is still in its infancy.
I read a one-page editorial about microbes that live in our gut and how many of them there were, literally hundreds of species of bacteria that live in humans, and nobody was studying them. And we knew they were there. We've known they're there for hundreds of years. And I thought to myself, well, this is really the frontier of microbiology.
I like to say that studying termites is like being an eco-tourist in a miniature Alice in Wonderland. The termite gut is a very tiny drop of water, but in it is this little miniature ecosystem that you find nowhere else in nature, that's dynamic, fascinating shapes, fascinating movements, and without these microbes, the termite cannot digest wood. So it's all a group effort. And that was enough for me to say, okay, I need to know more.
The sorts of things that we're up to have to do with just trying to figure out how it all works. So it's not so much there's an application in mind as what the heck are these microbes doing? Like, for example, we're thinking about viruses at the present that are in our mouths. There's all these different species of microbes in your mouth. Turns out there's viruses that attack them. What are they doing there? What are they up to?
So the CEMI started because our provost recognized that we'd created something very special here at Caltech, where serendipitously a bunch of people had come in through different divisions on campus that happened to be working with microbes as a pivotal point in their research. And there was a recognition that if we were able to bring this group of people together into a community, it could foster some very exciting interdisciplinary activities.
The microbiology program at Caltech brings in all these different points of view. For example, I come from engineering. I want to use microbes to build new forms of life that will solve problems. But then you also have people who come in from the fundamental biology, using microbes as model systems to understand genetic regulatory networks, or using microbes to understand how life has evolved on this planet. All these different questions center around the microbial world.
In microbiology today, we need people who can work with a wide range of species, who are quantitative, and who can examine microorganisms from diverse perspectives using complementary tools. The CEMI fosters this type of interdisciplinary approach, bringing together faculty, postdocs, and students to explore microbial systems across spatial and temporal scales.
One of the things that's really been exciting for us is developing this idea of looking quantitatively at individual cells in movies, following the levels and activities of molecules over time. And when you do that, you open up this whole new world.
One of the unique things that we can do is this merger of molecular tools and geochemical analyses that tell us not only who's in the environment, but what they're actually doing in terms of their metabolic processing. And the unique aspect that we bring to the table is to be able to do this at a spatial scale that's really relevant to the microorganisms themselves.
With visual techniques such as electron tomography, you do have this opportunity and this ability to see how bacteria divide, or how they segregate their genomes, or how they communicate with each other in vivo a near native state. I can't explain the feeling of seeing something for the first time and being the only one ever on the planet who has seen it.
One of my favorite things about Caltech is how interdisciplinary it is. We have all of these seminars that take place multiple times a week to learn about other areas of science, and I think it really fosters a supportive community.
I really like the collaborative environment here. If you have a experiment you want to do, but you don't necessarily know how to do it yourself, you can find someone who's more than willing to help you out.
I've never been anywhere in the world where there is such a density of what I would simply call clever people, but not clever and arrogant, but clever and friendly.
We all know each other in a certain sense. You know, there's a couple of cafes, there's 280, I think, faculty members, something like that. You run into somebody that's in geology or something, you talk to them. The fact that you can talk to all these people in different divisions in a meaningful way, more than in a cursory way, is super, super powerful.
I think for Caltech, it's really nice for undergrads in the sense that there's so much opportunity. You can just go up to a professor and ask them, oh, like, can I join your lab next year? And they could say yes. So it's just really exciting to be able to do that here.
You're not in the middle of the biggest place in the world where you know absolutely everything that's going on instantaneously, but there is everything you could possibly need, and you have the space, the intellectual space, and the support to do something different.
It's so refreshing to come in every day and be surrounded by curious, intelligent people. Curious, intelligent people who have the means to explore some of the most exciting questions that there are. Where did life come from? How did it evolve? What are the mechanisms by which life extracts materials and energy from the environment? These kinds of issues are critical to our being able to survive on this planet, and to me it gives me inspiration.